Hey everyone, this is Tom Salemi of Device Talks. You're all victim to a April Fool's ruse. There's no webinar today. This is all to get. No, I'm just kidding. Of course, there's a webinar here for you today. Happy to have you back at Device Talks Tuesdays, and happy to welcome back our old friends at Millar. They're great participants and repeat participants of Device Talks Tuesdays, and it's great to have their conversation today. And I'm realizing that I messed up my interface here, so. Let's see. Hold on a second, everybody. I'm not seeing the slides, so hold on. Interesting. Well, this is the time when I thank Millar and I read their title, but I don't have the title in front of me. But guess what? I'm betting you all can read it yourself. So we'll trust on that, and I'll get to it once I figure out my interface. I'll probably have to refresh, but we'll wait until I get to stop talking. And all right, so we'll do our little housekeeping. Sorry, this was a little. Here we go. I'm not sure what happened. I've had my slides and now they're gone. But as we all know, I shouldn't need the slides by now. So this webinar is available for on-demand viewing. If you have friends or family who you know will benefit from from being part of this conversation, please let them know it's not too late, that they can take part in this. We'll be handling Q&A primarily at the end of the presentation, but ask your questions when they come to mind, and we would love to know what's coming. Love to be able to plan out our Q&A period. If by the weird chance that we aren't able to get to all the questions during the presentation, they will all be packed up and taken home by Millar, and they'll be able to get back to you right away with the answers to your questions. If you're watching this on demand, if you've already been notified about this webinar that you have missed, and you have questions during this presentation, ask those questions, and those will also go to Millar. So there's lots of great ways to get your information. We do have some materials for you in the resource widget, so please make sure you check that out. And by all means, we love the emojis, so you should have the emojis in front of you. And if we make you laugh or cry or feel good or bad, please let us know with a little thumbs up, thumbs down, party signal, heart, whatever your heart desires. These are a lot more fun when we know folks are out there enjoying it, participating. Please, oh good, Mark can see the slides, okay. That's what matters, Mark. I don't need to see the slides. We have our attendee chat box. I was just scanning over that. Thanks for everyone who's participated in that. That is the area for you to offer comments. Tell us what your weather's like. Tell us where you're watching from. Tell us if you have some thoughts on sensors and the MedTech scene. If you have questions, though, please put those in the Q&A box. It's hard to that's right, Amir. It is an April Fool's joke on me. It's hard to track the questions in the attendee chat box and also in the Q&A box. So please do put your questions in the Q&A box so we can track those more easily. And if you do put it in the attendee chat box, I will call you up publicly and ask you to put it in the Q&A box. So let's just all avoid that. So I'll go quickly through our podcasts. We have lots of podcasts. You can find those at devicetalks.com. And then we also have our in-person meetings. April 30th is our Device Talks Boston meeting. We'd love to see you there in Boston. And then we'll be next back in Minnesota, Device Talks Minnesota, on June 11th. So trusting that these are all getting pushed out okay. And it's 53 in Oregon. Thanks, Dan. So let me introduce our guest today. We've got, I'll advance the slide in a second. Mohammed Kashan, who is the electrical engineer at Millar, and Valor Thomas. And Valor, I can't read your titles because I failed to make sure my slides were up. But folks, you can all read it. You can see it there. And I'm going to stop stammering and embarrassing myself and hand this presentation over to our experts. Once again, ask your questions as they come to mind. Put them in the Q&A chat box. If they're topical, we'll get to them right away. If not, we'll save them right for the end, but we'll do our best to get to every single one. So with all that, Valor, I think you're kicking things off.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you hear me? Am I coming through?
I see you clearly and I hear you well. So
awesome. Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be joining you again, to be able to speak to you and your audience, bringing information to the topic of today's discussion will be mastering chronic disease management, the role of implantable pressure sensors. As Tom mentioned, my name is Valor Thomas, and today's discussion is brought to you by Malar. Malar actually was founded in 1969 around the question of how can you more accurately measure blood pressure in patients. And for the last 56 years, Malar has been working to answer that question. Malar enables technology advancements through engineering expertise and best-in-class technology platforms. Today, Malar is a contract development and manufacturing company focused on MedTech sensor integration. Malar has evolved over the years. As I mentioned, Malar has been in the business in the medical device industry for over 50 years. And over the course of that time, Malar has witnessed a significant shift in the medtech industry. This shift is one that has gone from a subjective kind of standpoint where therapeutic guidance was determined by intuition and the experience of the physician. It shifted towards more of a quantitative mindset in the medical device industry, where sensor-enabled devices are providing more data than ever before. This kind of smart device revolution in the healthcare industry has caused sensor technology to evolve and advance as well. Devices and sensors are being manufactured with the complicated use cases of managing chronic diseases in mind. Sensors are being used for longer than ever they've been used in the past. Chronic sensors are being used to manage diseases like heart failure in patient populations. So this advancement in sensors has brought about the ability to do continuous monitoring. This is different in the sense that previously clinicians would rely on insights gleaned from patient visits in order to make diagnostic decisions and guide therapies. This often resulted in gaps in the clinician's understanding of the true physiological condition of that patient. These advancements in sensor technology that allow for continuous monitoring are shifting the healthcare industry from that of a reactive mindset to more of a proactive mindset. We see devices that have hit the market for continuous monitoring, like the CardioMEMS device that monitors cardiovascular function in patients that have heart failure. I recently came across an article that suggested that an implantable pressure transducer can detect changes in cardiovascular function up to 2 weeks before a patient actually experiences symptoms. When a patient actually experiences symptoms, oftentimes the damage is already done and it's too late. But with continuous monitoring, you're able to titrate and manipulate and change therapy based on real-time data from implantable chronic pressure sensors. In terms of selecting the right sensors for device developers, there are many options, but choosing the right sensor matters when it comes to reliability and data that you can trust. For this conversation, we'll be focusing on the advantages of MEM-based sensor. MEMS also meaning micro electromechanical systems. These sensors actually take a mechanical input and translates that to an electrical signal that can be quantified and measured and provide needed insights. MEMS sensors have been used in medical device applications for decades and are well understood. So this minimizes the risk associated with deploying novel technologies. In terms of size, MEMS sensors can be incredibly small. Our smallest MEMS sensor is 1 French in size, which equates to about 1/3 of a millimeter or 14 thousandths of an inch. That small size allows these sensors to be deployed in a variety of different applications where they are used to measure indexes like pressure and pH for a variety of different medical applications, and even can provide closed loop feedbacks that allow for kind of autonomous decision making with advanced medical devices. In terms of Malar's solution to chronic insights from a MEMS pressure sensor standpoint, we offer the TiSense. The TiSense is the industry's only standalone pressure sensor that's designed to be used for device development applications. This sensor has been designed to be implanted in vivo applications for up to 10 years. And we're currently doing testing to validate its performance. With that, I'll pause and give the floor to Mohammed to dig into the technicalities of this sensing platform.
Thank you, Weller, for the great overview. Now let's review the dimensions and form factor of Tysons, which can be customized to fit your specific integration needs. The module is about 1.7 millimeters tall, not including the length of the pins. It has an outer diameter of about 3.4 millimeters and includes a flange with an OD of about 4 mm, which can be added or removed from the design based on integration needs. The external body of Tysons is made of titanium grade 2, which is one of the strongest and most durable biocompatible materials for implantable devices. Tysons can interface with the external environment using 3 feed-through pins on the backside of the module, and these pins are made of platinum iridium, a material commonly used in biocompatible implantable devices. For early prototyping, wires can be soldered to the pins, making sure they are not exposed to heat for long periods. However, for long-term scalable use or production applications, we recommend using a flex PCB to interface with the pins, providing better reliability and easier integration. Now let's focus on a critical aspect of implantable sensors for clinical applications, which is reliability. Physicians need to trust the data that these sensors provide. That's why Miller conducts ongoing reliability testing of Tysons modules to ensure no permanent changes occur to any part of the sensor. The Tysons module has been subjected to rigorous testing to monitor any changes in performance due to continuous pulsatile pressures. The goal is to demonstrate that it can withstand millions of pressure cycles without issues. The pulsatile tests were applied in an accelerated manner to simulate 5 years of operation in the heart. Over a 3-month duration, 6 Tysons modules were subjected to sinusoidal pressure cycles with peak-to-peak values of 80 to 120 millimeters of mercury, mimicking the cardiac waveform. The units were kept at 37 degrees C in a water medium to simulate actual human body conditions. All units completed over 200 million pressure cycles, which is about 5 years of simulated use, and there were no gross failures. As an example here, we can see that the units display the same level of sensitivity before and after pulsatile test stress. We can see that no waveform distortion or signal attenuation was detected. The test is ongoing with different batches of Tysons module, and we are hoping and looking forward to complete 10 years of simulated implantation time. Following our discussion on the reliability testing, now let's take a look at the long-term performance, or better known as drift, for our Tysons sensors. Here we can see the drift data for a Tysons unit that was evaluated. The module was immersed in body temperature water at 37 degrees C, and it was exposed to over 160 million cardiac pressure cycles, which is equivalent to more than 6 years of operation in the heart. As shown here, the drift for the Tysons modules remained well below ±2 millimeters of mercury, highlighting its ability to withstand a heart-like environment over an extended period. That being said, any additional testing required for this module would be conducted according to the customer's specifications and can be also optimized as needed. The Tysons module is extremely versatile and can be customized for each customer's use case or application. It is capable of sustaining millions of pressure cycles that are required for cardiovascular applications, allowing the customer to accurately measure dynamic pressures. Tysons can also be used in static pressure environments to gather readings, such as intraocular and also intracranial pressure cycles. Due to the uniqueness of the design, our OEM team can adjust and design the form factor to meet specific requirements. With this versatility in mind, let's review some clinical application examples where Tysons can make a significant impact. With the growing elderly population, heart failure remains a major challenge in the medical field. Chronic heart failure is a condition where the heart has difficulty to pump effectively throughout the body. Tyson's technology can play a crucial role in supporting pressure measurements for devices placed in critical areas like the pulmonary artery, left atrium, or right ventricle, measuring key metrics such as heart rate, peak-to-peak pressure, and end-diastolic pressure. Therefore, devices such as ventricular assist devices, total artificial hearts, and even leadless pacemakers stand to gain a significant benefit by incorporating Tysons. And this is because Tysons was created for long-term applications with its biocompatible design, ensuring the ability to endure millions of pressure cycles. Another clinical condition that Tysons could make a difference is hydrocephalus. It's a disorder caused by excess cerebrospinal fluid, or CSF, buildup in the brain, and this can lead to serious brain damage. One of the ways to manage hydrocephalus is to surgically implant a shunt that drains the excess CSF to either the chest cavity or abdomen. While effective, these systems do not provide real-time monitoring of intracranial pressures. This is where Tysons comes in. By integrating an implantable pressure sensor into the shunt system, we can enable continuous intracranial pressure monitoring, which will allow for real-time diagnostics, helping to maintain CSF pressures at optimal levels. Tysons is a highly sensitive sensor, which is sensitive to small variations in CSF pressures and can remain in direct fluid contact for instantaneous or long-term measurements. This capability makes it a powerful tool for improving hydrocephalus management and patient outcomes. Currently, intraocular pressure measurements are performed during a doctor visit using tonometry. While these are helpful to diagnose high eye pressures, it is more useful to have measurements at regular intervals so that we can establish a trend. Devices with an implantable pressure sensor can continuously monitor intraocular pressures and report trends back to the physicians. For example, one of the most common eye diseases that could lead to blindness is glaucoma, which is often linked to high intraocular pressures. Tysons has a minimal height profile and is ideally suited for implantation in the inner eye. It is highly sensitive to small pressure changes and can easily be integrated to a hermetic implant that houses the necessary signal condition electronics. And now Valerie will walk us through the future of chronic disease management.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mohammed, for walking us through some of those examples. I think it's clear that the presence of continuous monitoring in the medical device space will continue to grow and evolve. I think that with the aging population and the medical device industry shifting to more personalized medication, the need for data-driven insights is larger than ever before. I think that solutions like the Tysons that can provide continuous real-time monitoring that advance the status quo of patient care will continue to advance and evolve, especially in the presence of this AI revolution that we're on the precipice of. As AI gets intertwined between our healthcare workflows and procedures, I do predict that continuous monitoring with sensors like the Tysons will continue to grow and evolve. And lastly, to close out the discussion here, we want to kind of talk about Millar's legacy of innovation. As I mentioned, Millar was founded in 1969 when clinicians would come to Huntley Millar and ask him to accomplish things that haven't been done before. They want to measure new indices, and Huntley Millar would go into his laboratory, and he'd come out with a device capable of achieving the goal. And before the end of the week, Huntley Millar and that clinician would throw that device inside of a patient and record data. The medical device industry has changed significantly since that time. As you all know, you can't simply throw a novel prototype into a device into a patient within a week. But that same innovation, that same spirit of innovation that guided Millar all those years ago is still the spirit of innovation that guides us to today. And so Millar is the vendor that the medical device industry can trust when it comes to developing novel sensor-enabled devices. We've been doing it for over 56 years, and we look forward to continuing this legacy of innovation. And with that, Tom, I'll close out the prepared discussion and open up the floor for questions.
Okay, sweet, excellent, love it. So we've got a lot of time for questions. Fortunately, we have a lot of questions as well, but make sure you get yours in also, and you got the QR code there to get some more information from Millar. So we'll start off with a question I actually had, and then we can add a question from the audience. So, Mohammed, how big? Can you give me a sense of how big this device is? I mean, I'm sure it varies in sizes, but there were a couple of questions about size. So, what are we looking at when we're looking at this?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, the Tyson's modules, they have an outer diameter of about 3.4 millimeters, which makes them ideal for to be a part of a bigger device. It can be integrated into various devices, which could be used for different applications, from cardiovascular, as we just mentioned, to intraocular and intracranial. So a diameter of 3.4 to 4 millimeters makes it ideal for integration into devices. And the height of the device is about 1.7 millimeters.
Okay.
And these can be customized according to the customer's needs.
And Amit asked, what is the smallest size of sensor available?
As of now, these are the smallest size that is available for Tyson's, a diameter of 3.4 and a height of 1.7 millimeters. And on the back side, we have 3 feed-through pins that they have a length of about 3 to 5 millimeters. And we're looking forward to, if we come across any applications that require smaller dimensions, we can work through it, and we can communicate with the customer to come up with a solution for it.
The question from Randy, where is the pressure measured? On the pins or on the flat part?
On the top surface of Tyson's, we have a titanium diaphragm. So the incident pressure is measured through this titanium diaphragm and is transferred to the core sensor, which is installed inside this cavity. And that's how pressure is transferred from an external environment through the top diaphragm to the MEMS pressure sensor inside the module.
Okay. And we've got some questions here for you, Valor, from Shane, and then another one from Corey, and I'll see if I can combine them. But Shane asked, what would you say are the main differences between TiSense and existing pulmonary artery sensors, example, Edwards Endotronix Cordella or Abbott's CardioMEMS? Is it that TiSense by itself is not a device, but rather a piece that can be integrated into an existing implantable device? What are the pros and cons? And Corey's question was essentially the same. What is the advantage of the MEMS sensor like TiSense over capacitive design like that of CardioMEMS?
Yeah, I think that's a really great question and points to a interesting point in that the TiSense sensor is not a standalone device, but more so a component that can be leveraged by device developers in order to achieve chronic pressure measurement. When compared to some of the other devices that were mentioned, ultimately, the capabilities are pretty much similar. We're looking to achieve chronic pressure measurements of disease populations and provide insights to physicians. But the way that we do that is a little bit different. The CardioMEMS device, that's a capacitive, it leverages a capacitive sensor in order to record pressure. The Malar sensor within the TiSense uses a piezo-resistive sensor in order to measure pressure. Ultimately, capabilities are fairly similar. It's just different ways of essentially skinning a cat in this instance.
Okay, great. We'll get back to questions in a moment. We're getting a lot of great questions from the audience. Once again, I'd like to ask folks to ask the question in the Q&A box. Don't use the attendee chat box for that. If you have comments or things that the panelists don't need to address, feel free to offer them there. But if you want an answer from them, please put things in the team chat box so we can organize this and make sure the flow goes well. So next question is we'll go from Krish. This is to Mohammed. What is the power requirement and what type of battery is used? Good question.
Yeah, the power requirement is mainly dependent on the design specifications of your system. The TiSense can be powered from 1 to 6 volts. And then if we do some power cycling or duty cycling to power our device, we can minimize the amount of power used for TiSense modules.
Okay. And next question, we'll pass this one to you, Valor. What is the output signal of the sensor, analog or digital?
The sensor is an analog output. We do have digital PCBAs that we can interface in general sensors too, but as it stands, the TiSense from an off-the-shelf perspective outputs an analog voltage. We provide our customers with a characterization file that allows them to calibrate that analog voltage to a very accurate pressure reading.
Okay. All right, next question. Let's see. I'm going to combine a couple. We have a question. What is the temperature range of the TiSense? But there's also a question higher up from Ben. I am curious. The operational temperature is 35 to 39 degrees. What if a patient has a high fever? So, Mohammed, could you give us a little sense of that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the TiSense modules are primarily designed to have an optimum performance around the standard body temperature range, which is about 35 to 39, as you mentioned. But if we go beyond those ranges, let's say for storage purposes, during shipment, cleaning processes, or prototyping or R&D testing, these temperature range can be widened and goes from a range of -5 degrees C up to 30 degrees Celsius, which is quite a larger range compared to what we have around the human body temperature. So even within this large range of temperature, the performance does not degrade. And comparing to long-term use, we expect the sensor to operate within the human body temperature range. If occasionally it goes out of that range, it's still fine, and the sensor will perform as expected.
Fantastic. All right, next question from Amit. Can you also explain about data acquisition system? So how is the data transmitted and I guess stored? Valor, could you address that?
Yeah, sure. So the output of the sensor is just a simple analog voltage. Now, what you do with that analog voltage signal will depend on the application, whether it's a benchtop setting. Typically, that analog voltage will be interfaced with the data acquisition system in order to digitize that signal and manipulate the data. If it's an implantable device, that signal would then be fed into the circuitry of the device. Probably digitized, read, and used to either provide a feedback to the loop, provide clinicians with insights, or what have you.
All right. Next question for Mohammed. What is the average implantation time for the TiSense? I have an application that would require 10 plus years of implantation. Would TiSense be a good option for that?
Yes, TiSense is designed to operate for an extended periods of over 5 to 10 years in the human body. And this is exactly why Millar decided to develop TiSense to kind of provide a solution for the unanswered question or product in the medical industry for a long-term implantable device. You know that Millar has over half a century of experience in manufacturing pressure sensing technology. And those primarily have been catheter-based devices that are used for shorter applications, which are typically about 7 to 29 days. And with all this knowledge and experiences that Millar has gathered over the years, we have developed and come up with TiSense, which can withstand operation for a long period in a human body. It is quite robust and durable and biocompatible. And we are continuously performing tests at Millar to confirm its usability for extended periods, such as 5 or even more than 10 years.
All right, great. So next question from David. Sorry, I'm hearing my echo. This is for Valor. How do you manage IP with use of your sensors with clients?
Yeah, this is a topic of discussion very early on with our strategic partners. Millar typically retains all IP associated with the sensors and integrating those sensors into the device. And our customers typically retain all the IP associated with their device and the overarching function of that device. Millar is not in the business of getting outside of our wheelhouse, and so we focus on kind of our core competency, which is sensors and sensor integrations, and we don't desire to get outside of that primary focus.
All right. Next question to Mohammed. I see you're conducting a durability test for normal blood pressure. Do you have any plans to test at higher pressure differentials? Many patients with heart failure fall outside the standard 120/80 range.
Yes, that has always been the plan for Millar to go through different setups for testing. We initially started our test for cardiovascular applications, knowing the pressure would be from 80 to 100 millimeters of mercury. Step by step, we are trying to increase the number of TiSense that we are using for reliability testing, as well as including additional setups like increasing the temperature or different types of implementation of the reliability testing for our sensors. So yes, it is going to be on our plan for testing the units for higher pressure values for the coming tests.
Fantastic. All right, we'll continue. We've got a few more questions here. If folks have questions, please make sure you get them in. We've got plenty of time for them, but this has been a very efficient webinar, which I love. A lot of data, a lot of information at the start, and a lot of great questions to follow. You guys are the best. If you're watching this on demand, don't forget you can still get answers to your questions. Just to submit them into the Q&A box, obviously at any time, and that'll go right to Millar, and they can reach out to you and get you the information that you need. So Valor, the question here is, what is Millar's role in medical device development? And this question I always like to ask, what types of companies do you work with? Do you work with small companies, big companies, everything in between?
Absolutely. Millar is a full-service contract development and manufacturing organization. And so what that means is that we can help every step of the way from kind of concept to commercialization. When it comes to the companies that we work with everyone from a clinician with a bright idea all the way through to a strategic medical device company. All of the major names that we all know, we've worked with them in the past. And so there's no one-size-fits-all approach that Millar takes. We custom tailor solutions to fit customer needs, and we do the same for how we structure the partnerships.
All right. Next question to Mohammed from Ben. Is TiSense 100% calibrated, or do I need to do the calibration with the external 3K bridge completion resistors? Thanks. Mohammed, what is that? Is that a omega sign? What is that, 3K omega?
That's an
What is
O.
that?
Yeah, that's
Oh, it's an O?
3
All right.
kilo-ohm, yeah. Yeah.
I don't think it's an O, but anyway, go. If you
Yeah,
could answer
so
that. Yeah.
sure. Our TiSense is a half-bridge sensor, meaning that it includes two 3K kilo-ohm resistors inside it. And therefore, if you want to integrate it with your system, you need additional 2 kilo-ohm resistors to complete the bridge and measure the differential voltage. TiSense by itself does not have any calibration means or electronics. So once you have integrated your TiSense into your system, you might need to use an external barometer or temperature sensor to do the calibrations and compensations. And one beauty about TiSense is that you might not even need an external temperature sensor. You can just use what's known as common mode voltage to track the temperature of the environment that TiSense is interacting with.
All right, great. Next question from David. CardioMEMS's Topani and sensor is polymer-based. What led to your sensor using biocomp, biocompatibility, IP, capabilities, or supply chain? What led you to use what you're using? Valor?
I think when we were designing the TiSense sensor, mitigating risk was at the foremost of our thinking. The titanium grade 2 has been used for decades in medical application and has been proven safe from a biocompatibility standpoint. The vast data associated with this material led us to choose it to limit the risk associated with device developers integrating it into their devices.
All right, great. Next question. If we consider, this is for Mohammed, if we consider the molar sensor as implantable, do you support with data acquisition through external devices? Is battery life study for 5 years done and completed?
It really depends on the type of application and the system that the customer is looking for. Since the output of TiSense is differential voltage, it depends on customer's design and on what means they are trying to capture and record and process the data collected from TiSense. So it could vary from a catheter-based solution to a fully implantable device. And in terms of battery, as I mentioned, if we do cycling or we provide external battery sources, the sensor can run for very long periods. But we haven't exactly done any testing on how much it takes for the TiSense modules to use up the battery in this case. But the amount of current run from TiSense units is like in the range of milliamperes.
Okay, great. So I see one more question in the queue. We have plenty of time for more, so if you still have questions, don't be shy. Let's have them. Let's get it all out on the table. And of course, once again, if you're watching this on demand, you can ask your questions as well at any point during this presentation, and those questions will get answered. And if you just want to tell us how much you love us, make sure you use the emojis. Give us some thumbs up. I think our record is 200 something, so we always love to break new records here. Give us an applause. I'm told there is no thumbs down because apparently our egos are too fragile and can't take criticism. But if you want to tell me I stink, use the attendee chat box. That's perfectly fine. I'm a big boy. I can take it. Next question for you, Valor. When collaborating with customers, is sensor integration typically a plug-and-play process? Where can sensors be integrated into where sensors can be integrated into existing devices? And follow-up, are you able to design fully sensor-enabled devices from start to finish? Where do you sort of fit into the whole process?
Yeah, I think ultimately we'd like to get to a point where it feels kind of like a plug and play kind of process. The TiSense was designed to be a integratable component into devices, and so the hope is that our customers can take the TiSense and easily and seamlessly integrate it into a device. But from a plug and play perspective, I would say we haven't quite accomplished that just yet. The reality is medical device development is difficult, and each device is unique, and so and has a unique set of requirements. And so Millar develops and designs custom sensor integration pathways and development projects specifically to our customers' needs. As to the question, can we develop devices from start to finish? The answer is yes. Millar is a vertically integrated contract development company, and we can add value at every step of the process. Again, from concept, where you need help refining your idea, all the way through to commercialization, where we manufacture products and devices, or we design products and devices with manufacturing in mind, and optimizing our manufacturing and achieving yield that are unmet in the industry is our focus.
All right. Next question, and again, very low emoji crowd. I guess I can respect that. I'm not a big emoji fan either, but I'll keep begging because I have no dignity whatsoever. For Mohammed, question from Ben: what is the advantage to using silicone oil tie package compared to potting? Will you worry about leakage? Thanks.
First of all, silicone oil is an inert material, meaning that in the worst case of leaking, it is harmless to human body and the environment that it is placed in. The TiSense is made with a technology that makes it quite robust. This technology is used for like space applications or submarine applications, which confirms the robustness of the device in very harsh environments. And in case if there is any tear in the device that leads to leakage of the silicone oil, which is quite rare that could happen. Silicone oil is an inert material, and it is well known that it doesn't do any harm to human body.
Okay. Next question. This one for Val. I love how the questions have been for you guys. Have this been a tennis match watching you answer these questions? This is great. This is hi Valerie. You were saying about the 14,000 sensor. Are such sensors available with Millar?
Yeah, no, those are great questions, Tom. I'm with you. If we could get a couple more emojis, going through here.
There you go. Join my quest.
In terms of the 14,000 sensor, I was referencing Millar's smallest sensor configuration, which is a 1 French sensor. If you're not familiar with the French size, it equates to about 14 thousandths of an inch or a third of a millimeter. This sensor configuration is ideally suited for acute applications and wouldn't be suited for long-term implantables. But we do have configurations that are ideally suited for acute applications that can be deployed for up to about 30 days in use case.
All right. Just curious, we talk about a lot of the really excellent and critical areas that you're focusing on right now with sensors. What are you seeing? Anything interesting coming down the pike in terms of other parts of the body where we may see sensors that we don't currently, without tipping your hand or sharing any deep secrets? Like, what are we going to see 10 years from now when it comes to sensor technology as they get smaller and more accurate?
Absolutely. I think sensors will continue to get smaller. Everybody wants smaller, more precise, cheaper. I think we'll see a lot of advances going, lowering the cost of these offerings. I think in addition to, advances in sensor, I think how we use the data from sensors will continue to evolve in the coming years. With the emergence of AI and how we process data will be a big thing of a big area of development and investment. Leveraging AI in order to achieve kind of autonomous workflows and data-driven computer decisions when it comes to diagnosis and therapy guidance. So I think that, you know, the emergence of these sort of novel AI technologies will do quite a bit to drive sensors and the evolution of sensors in the coming years.
Mohammed, how about from your perspective? It must be a lot of fun working in this field, and I'm sure you, looking around, you see sensors, the possibility for sensors everywhere. Like someday we can do this, and someday we can do that. What do you see
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah, that's we are in continuous contact with neurosurgeon and cardiovascular surgeons, and those are the ones that are the experts in the field and provide feedbacks to our technology. And what we hear a lot is the size and speed. So as I see the future, we will have smaller devices that are smarter and that can transfer the data faster and in more reliable fashion.
Fantastic. All right. Well, this has been a great conversation. If you're still hearing my voice live or on demand, and you have a question that we didn't get to, we're going to wrap up right now. But throw it in the Q&A box before I stop talking, and it'll go get right over to Millar and then get back to you. Thank you both, Mohammed and Valor. I always love having Millar on here. You guys always straight and to the point, really cool technical slides, and always get a good crowd here. So thanks for joining us in Device Talks Tuesdays.
Awesome. Thank you for having us, Tom.
Thank you for having us.
Always a pleasure. And thanks everyone for being part of this. Sorry about my mix up with the slides at the very start. Just had an interface problem, but it's all fixed now. You guys are the best. You ask the great questions. You show up all the time for these fantastic conversations. So we really appreciate our Device Talks Tuesdays crowd. And there are all the emojis. Think of that. You guys feel loved now? You feeling the love? Here it comes. Fantastic. All right. Thanks, of course, to Amira, our producer, Amira Weiner, for making all this go, and to Millar for making this conversation possible. Next week, we'll have a digital surgical robotics series you should check out. Go on DeviceTalks.com to see the 4 presentations we'll have next week. And that's it. Hope to see you at Device Talks Boston on April 30th. Take care, everybody.